Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to another day of sketching as ideation, ideation as sketching. Sorry, I'm looking through the books here. Today is the 18th, and I want to show you guys what I did yesterday. Again, it was more of kind of like looking at flat dimensional drawings. I looked at again, this is not from my imagination, this drawing here. This element here is from a Romanesque picture I saw, Romanesque architecture, and I kind of took that idea of the church, extend a little taller here. This is very similar to the proportion that was there. This chunk continues on this side. I just kind of did this little, you would say, elevation study of hills and trees coming through, and you have buildings going across. Or something you would see in medieval times, possibly. So I know I put a little bit of color, and so this is the first time I've done this. So I really was just kind of looking at just drawing something like this. It was not about sketching as ideation. This part was, I had to kind of figure that out, but this was me just looking at an image. And looking at image is very different than sketching as ideation, ideation as sketching. So this here I started ideating kind of proportion of if this was a beautiful, simple little luminaire like pendant light, and if it came down to a nice custom-made coffee table, and these were like embossed, maybe like pieces of wood, or like some type of woodwork component here. This is off center, these pieces. So I just kind of left as like kind of a blank page to experiment for idea and composition. But what are we doing today? I don't have a prompt to where to start, and I don't have much in my imagination. But as I'm thinking, as I saw this, I do like this element inside, this layering happening as 2D, but now that's flat. What would it feel like if it's a space, right? That's where it gets more complicated, like an environment. So, but I'm gonna layer it. I'm gonna layer something like that. I'm gonna start my dot here, and that's a person here. Actually, I'm gonna get the 5 here. This is me standing right here, and I'm gonna put like all the way in front here, and somebody in the back here as well, and somebody here, just to get an idea. And I'm gonna create layers of components, some more up front, some more behind, and I know I can make something like this work. This sketching as ideation is how do I create layers upon layers in an environment in a space. Now I can do it through walls, so I'm gonna make a couple of those. I'm gonna say this is the back walls right here. Right, there's another wall over here. There's another wall over here. There's another one over here. Right, so these are all walls in between, and I'll give them heights now. And this is like this long. Let's say the one wall height's gonna cover the one behind it, and yada yada yada, vice versa. But I'm gonna combine this with like vegetation in this interior environment. So this is my 5-foot section. That's 5 feet tall. That's 10. That's 15 feet tall, let's say. And this is the back wall right here. So I'm gonna say this wall. Well, I'm gonna draw this one first. And let's just say so it's gonna be that tall. Watch, if this is kind of like the edge of that wall. All right, how tall is this gonna be? So I'm just gonna create this right here, probably from here, and it'll be a straight line coming down. All right, and so 15 feet tall, vanishing point. I'm gonna say I'm just gonna do this. A straight line, it'll meet here. But that won't be, that's 10. It's gonna probably be like this tall. Yeah. That's how tall that's gonna be up here. Right? And it's gonna extend past the page. Like that's consider that a wall. And let's give it that some thickness. So following this vanishing point, that's kind of the thickness of this wall right here. Maybe I'll make this wall transparent, translucent. I'm using that right here. This is just to get an idea, right? The points. And there's another wall right here. And the wall is the same height as this one. So I just follow this down here. There's a thickness to this wall as well. That's the vanishing point, so it comes here, right? And then there's another wall right here. Again, the thing that, here, let me make these lines. I know they're not going to be exactly straight, but all right, so that goes back to here, to here, to here. If I'm standing right here, 5, 10, 15, it'll be like this tall right here. So I'm gonna say it's right there. And I'll say this one does end right over here. And of course, just follow the vanishing point, there's a thickness to it. It's closer to the vanishing point line, so you won't see so much of the thickness. And there we have kind of like, okay, remember, I'm thinking about layering right now. Hopefully you can see, yeah, you can see the lines that I'm getting here. And I had one back here. Right? And that one looks like flat on because it's just right there. I can have one further up front here, but now I see kind of these layer staggered walls, and I'm gonna put vegetation in between. I like this idea of this kind of sneaking through all these complicated elements, right? But that's like in the exterior. What about the interior? And what if I do have an environment that does have that does have those components? So I'm gonna make a conscious effort to say that all over here, right? I'm gonna put some coming out over here. There's vegetation in this area. And similarly, I'm going to say that around here, there's some kind of encroaching into the space and coming out through it, this area here. Just something like that. Just kind of present it right there. I will have okay, I'm going to do one more idea of layering. And I'm going to do, yeah, no, I'm going to leave it like that right now for now. All right. So let's do the same idea for the floor in terms of there's different types of flooring, or maybe different approaches to the flooring. What I mean is like this is one right here where this is at, and it stops right here. There's another one for this one over here. There's another one for this one over here, and that's the flooring surrounding it. There's one over here. Right, and that's just different. Maybe the floor, you know, there's different. Oh, now I see. Maybe there's like water in all these areas here. That'll be cool. And these monuments or these components are there within the water, right? There's some vegetation happening in that area here. These planes we have to address, right? What these are, right? And how I'm going to address that is going to be with detail, some type of detail. What's happening? What I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to play with this area here and make this vegetation come through this wall. Right, you can see some of it. Right, maybe I do see that there's some type of tree limb or something happening here. And that's going to create some, you know, little softness to this area. What was it that I did it? Yeah. So you'll see some of this happening. Right here. I'm going to put this like this. So those elements happening. Some trees right there. Okay, we'll do that. Now, we don't have all the answers there of what this is yet, but I'm just kind of drawing these components out. Let me be a little more deliberate with my marker here. Okay. Again, I'm just putting some of this idea here. All right, that's just a chunky tree coming up there. There we go. And that way you create that layering, trying to create layering. Now this is supposed to be inside outside. So I basically just created an outside space here. Right, I can make elements of covering components. We can definitely do that. But right now it's reading like it's outside. And if I were to stand right here, I'll be this tall. If I stand right here, I'll be this tall. I mean, maybe we're here looking at this element right there. That's how tall I would be right there. So come on, we're going back to this idea of layering. So let's give this some detail. Let's give these are walls that are okay. I'm gonna make them. This is these wall components. And I'm going to show that there's a thickness, I mean, there's like a indentation to them here. All right, so you'll see some of that. You won't see it here because that's coming there. There you go. And that's the edge of the wall. But these elements, let's say maybe they're concrete on the exterior area here. And I'm just going to put this as a formwork for the concrete, just to give that idea. And then the inside, they have this. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of keep on going with that idea of layering. And they have different approaches to wood, like almost like an art piece. Like these go this way, and the tree's blocking the rest of it, but yeah. But even within the panels, they have their own. I'm gonna give this kind of a thickness here. All right, and then this one, I'm gonna follow this angle like this. Again, what I'm trying to do is create kind of this visual interest. I'm going over the people just so we can kind of get this done. And this one, I'll make it straight like the one on the top right. So there are pieces of wood there, and that, it creates again more of that back and forth layering. And I can put a little shadow. Like when I start putting color, I can put this right here. This will be darker. This one will be darker. This one will be darker. It'll be a shadow there. And that's inset there, right there. And let's do the same thing for this one here. But this one, I'm going to give it a little more detail. Okay, we have this element here. I'm going to give this another detail as we do the there we go. And again, I want to do something similar. I want to create this from here. I'll do it here. But this one, I'm creating a different indentation. I'm going to say that these, I mean, they're already recessed in somehow. You see that? And I'm going to do that here. There we go. So we see something like that. I'm going to continue there. And on the top, we'll have that little indentation here like that too, like happens. And in this one, we're going to create, this is going to be like the line is going to create all this. Again, I'm trying to have a little more excitement with what we're trying to get to here. There we go. And what I'm going to do here is this is going to be a different material. Yes, I'm drawing a lot of lines and sketching as ideation. And again, I'm thinking of the word layering. So whatever I'm doing here, I'm trying to layer. As we're drawing though, I'm trying to still create composition. What am I seeing? Is it something that as a design element, do I like it? Do I like what I see? Am I missing something? Do I need to add a different language? Do I need more detail? And if I show you the other page when I was doing the Romanesque architecture, there's a lot of already detail within the way they have the windows and the detail. Like again, this is, you see the windows, and there's all these lines that are supporting all these components. Not just one big window. There's layers and layers within the window itself. So I'm going to use some of that idea. I'm using it here with a kind of a more modern twist, you would say. And that's why I did these components. The same thing as doing those windows. So like you have like here you have like a big window like here, and then they cut it in half, and then they cut it in thirds, and they cut it in quarters. And that's what I'm trying to develop here, but in a different language. So I'm going to grab this right now. Now I grab this and I'm going to say this is all indented in. There's like a depth to this right here, to this one. This one has a depth to it right there. And I'm going to say that right around here. I'm actually going to right, and I'm going to play with this. Play with this shape and this form in the inside. Again, I'm basically copying what I kind of saw in the Romanesque, but again, I'm doing it this layering effect in my interpretation of it. There's no rules to this. You know, this is just about creating visual interest right now when I'm developing. And within here, I can say that this area here has a different material than the other ones. I'll do this one here. There we go. How we develop that. All right, and then we have that, and yeah, and then inside here, let's play with this. Inside here, I'm going to actually say this is actually following that. But on this side, I'm gonna break them up. I'm gonna go the opposite way. Well, I go this way. Yeah. Straight, straight, straight. And then I'm gonna create this effect. There we're going the same direction. Here we're going the same direction. And then this will look pretty interesting if the wood's inside the concrete there. And then here, we're gonna go against that movement of that, so our eyes kind of visually stop. And then we go back to the wood going horizontal. And this one goes vertical here. And again, I don't know what I was drawing when I started this, so we're creating this together. And I do like the idea of if there's water here. Like, let's say that is a platform you can walk on, but there is, there's some water happening here in this area. That trees and water, I don't know if it can survive. So we'll have to do this like this. Half water, half not. So we have that element. So, we're getting the idea of layering. Let's say the back here, this one in the back, this one. I'm actually going to make an executive decision here. And I'm going to kind of put that there's vegetation coming down here. No, it's that way. And then this is that element right here. And this was going to be a simple one. I'm going to have just this element here in the middle. And I'm going to move this way like that. The whole thing. One big element. And that's what you would see of that element. So 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one back here, you see this little piece right there. So now I'm using the 005, the thinnest line weight too, so I don't kind of make this too thick back here. All right, so I have that, and I'm gonna have this here. I'm gonna make this have a little more vegetation here. And then this one is gonna be the opposite. I didn't put that much detail like on this one, like on those, because it's further away. So yeah, so we're creating this environment, this space. I'm saying that's wood, that's concrete, whatever you want to use for that element. And I can kind of start creating more details, components like this on it, if I want to. But I'm just gonna kind of leave it like this. Let it be what it is. Let me not overplan it. And you'll see some elements here. There you go. All right. So there's kind of like what we just, again, I didn't know what I was going to draw in this case today at all. And I am going to put a little color on this now. Okay. I think the color is going to pop this out. It really will pop it out. I'm thinking. Let's talk about this area here. Let's just address that. This is going to have some water element here, right? Let's say it is reflective, but it'll be something like this. These little areas, there we go. Just leave it like that. And of course, I'll put some, just for, you know, I always like to have depth. So we'll show some depth on this, the blue here. But I'm gonna kind of put the blue like around here, like this. All right, it's a little bit of water there. All right, again, I'm trying to just represent it. And I'm trying, I need I need that color. I need that wood tone that I mentioned last time, which I don't have. I really don't have it. But I'm gonna put some shadows here just to create this depth on these components. It really, this helps. All this helps. Right, I'm just gonna kind of go on all these lines that I know are gonna be thicker. Right there, this is gonna be thicker in here, and in here. Actually, I'm gonna not be shy. There you go. And in here, and in here as well. Yeah, don't be shy. There's no mistakes here. And that'll get darker, you'll see. I'm gonna put just some shadows here where I know it's gonna be darker on the trees. It's gonna help the vegetation too. All right, I'm gonna get even darker now. Like in these areas, this is gonna be darker and darker. Oh, sorry, I moved it. Okay, perfect. Can you guys see it there? Yeah. Okay, it'll be darker here too. Right, these here. This one here. I want to make this. Layering. That was my word for today. Layering. Okay, I'm gonna be more aggressive with these shadows too on the trees. When I put the green in there, hopefully it'll pop it out. Yeah, that's it. And then I can go back and always put some darker. The biggest issue for me is I need to get a good color for the wood. Notice how quick I'm being with this. Being very quick. And I'm trying to follow the way the wood's positioned. Here I went over. I guess it'll work out. That's gonna be gray. Okay, and there'll be wood. Oh, there we have some wood. All right, and then we have the yeah, let's give the gray for the. Let's say this is concrete. Hopefully you're realizing how quick I'm doing this. There we go. So I'm saying that's concrete. And then we have, of course, the vegetation component. We have these pieces here. I'm actually gonna be liberal here with this. Back here, I gotta be more specific. I don't wanna. There we go. Then here's I'm in the darker color. So where I have those shadows, I know I put the darker ones immediately first. Then I can fill in, so it'll be darker here, the darker green. Same thing here, it'll be darker toward these areas here. And what I don't want to do, of course, is make everything a one big green blob, because that won't give you the effect you want. Yeah, so you can be a little bit liberal here with these components. All right, perfect. And then we have this area, we have that area. It's outside, so there'll be a sky here, but let's make, what's the floor? Is this color gonna be too dark? Yeah, I'm gonna put this color in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this color in here, like the wood. There you go. I think this helps it just pop it out, specific in this area, at least in this one. All right, something quick. And a cross right here, just quickly. Yeah, I like this better. I like this a lot better. And if I were to start and stop this, I can create like lighter versions, darker versions of the wood. That's good to leave it like that. Yeah, I like this one a lot better like this. Right. Let me have a little more brown to it, but this works. I like the way it created the shadows there. Oh, let me put, these are like wood pieces here as well. I'm gonna make this whole thing like that. Quick, to the point. That's it. Goes in between there. All right, so we have that feel of it. And I'm gonna go and get this gray. Be a little more aggressive with some of these air right there. There you go. Because it's the concrete. There we go. In that area. Perfect, 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 perfect. All right. Is the floor going to be concrete as well? Quickly go through it. I'm just going to go quickly through it here. All right. You know how I like doing that one like that, right? And you know I'm not gonna leave that without doing it a little bit darker. Meaning like back here is gonna be a little more aggressive here, and then we get that one there. Yeah, that's a good one. And this is running out. And what's happening with this, that outside? This is the sky area. So what color do we make the sky? I'm gonna give it a soft glow. So this sky it's like morning. That'll be dusk. some areas there. And I'm gonna make it a little bit darker. But it looks like it's sad. I need a little more brightness to it. Flesh. Let's see how I like the flesh. Yeah. Yeah. For a design idea, I do like it like this. Okay, good. Now I'm digging it better. And now I'm digging this better. Like morning sun coming out. There is that space, you know, the layering. We talked about creating layering. So this is what the intent was today, right? Was to create that. The 18th. So this is recording. What should I say? 5? No, this is recording 6. We'll call it layering. Well, I hope you enjoy me talking through this, right? Because I had no idea what was going to happen when I started this component. And, you know, you saw, like, you know, I just try to create, you know, you see this, you see the beautiful details here. Of course, a lot more details in the building, and you're familiar with this, I think, in our minds. And again, this is unique to my mind right now. And that's the idea, sketching as ideation. How do we get something out quickly to communicate with others? And all right, I hope you enjoyed it.